You know, or they might do a white woman for that one. But I'm saying they're not talking to us specifically. So, yeah, absolutely. So we've got a lot of things. So this is a busy slide, but overall it's just saying that if the hormones aren't getting to where they need to be, you're going to have imbalances. It could cause these particular symptoms. And another busy slide. This one highlights the adrenals from the hypothalamus of the brain, how it tells the other body parts to secrete certain things, cortisol, how it's connected to the adrenals, and what it does to the cell. Cells get the T3 hormone. Yeah, that's kind of active. I won't go on that because it'll get kind of heavy. Okay, this is the bell curve one.
Oh, yeah.
Why your lab tests are normal, but you still have symptoms. So like your daughter said. So thyroid specifically. And if you go to your doctor and you say, oh, he said my TSH was high. It's the opposite of what you think. So like if you say my TSH excuse me, is low, you think I'm hypothyroid, but it's actually hyper. If my TSH is high, that means I'm overproducing it, and it's actually low. Does that make sense? How can I say it? How can I say it a different way? I gotta say it a different way so you can understand. So, hyperthyroid means that the hypothalamus, the one that tells your glands to secrete certain hormones, is having to tell it too much because it's low. So when I get the number's going to be high because it's overproducing, but it's not getting to where it needs to be. Yeah? So it's high because you're hypo. Okay? Okay. So you can be, I mean, this is normal. You know? You can be there and you can still be normal, but how do you feel? So what's normal for you? What's going to make you feel like your best self? So when I do a TSH, I don't just do a TSH. TSH is kind of like the N number. It tells you kind of what happened already. But TSH is not the active form of the thyroid. The T3 and T4 are active forms. So I want to know what they're doing. There's free T4, there's free T3, there's bound. So I want to see the big picture. What are the actual numbers that are going to go to your cells to cause you to have some energy or not? So that's what we look at. So the functional labs, I like people around 2 for thyroid TSH. That lets me know that, okay, we're about balance. So let's go to the next one. And that is a blood test. And so we don't really have to guess about things. We can do certain assessments, but we go back to insurance. A provider can order a test if they feel it's medical necessity. And that's a subjective term. If I say you have this diagnosis and then I want to test this lab, would the average conventional doctor check that lab? No, they're not going to do a thyroid panel. They're going to do a TSH. It's going to say you're normal, and they're going to say you're normal.
If we request it, will that be the...
Well, it may not be covered.
What is it that you request again?
A thyroid panel?
Oh, thyroid panel.
And it has TSH, it has T3, bound and free, T4, bound and free. But see, insurance may not cover it because they may not say that it's medically necessary. So we're looking at 2 different paradigms, 2 different views of what is necessary and what's not. And so, you know, just like you were saying with your daughter, you're getting care, but is it the care that's going to actually make me feel better? Am I supposed to go home and say, okay, you said I was normal. I feel like this. So am I going to ignore that and just say, well, that's it. I just have to feel like this.
And I have a friend that has the same issue, and her doctor told her that it was in her head.
Right, that's the next thing. Well, there's a legitimate cycle. There are legitimate psychosomatic illnesses. That's emotional stress. What's in your head is going to present in your body. So I don't think it should be dismissive that it's all in your head. That doesn't mean that it's not true. That just means that something's going on with me and I need somebody to really address it. And so The conventional model doesn't really allow for that. You have to see 20 patients a day. And they only say, if you have this diagnosis, I can do this test. Beyond that, it's not going to pay for it. And most people, even though most of us have car insurance, right? But you still have to put gas in it. You still have to get oil changes. That's out of pocket, right? Nobody says anything about that. I know I got to get that. They don't say, oh, insurance company, I need you to put gas in my car. But when you go to a provider, you say, is it covered by insurance? Well, I don't want it.
Right.
But we have to take responsibility for our care and say, you know what, if there's more that I can find out, my health is my wealth. You know, I'm going to pay the extra, because if I know, then I can make better decisions so that down the road, when I get old and I can't fight the good fight, I can be well. Because when you're young, you can do the work of eating differently and living differently and managing your stress better. When you get older, it's tough. So cortisol is released on a circadian rhythm. So when you're up, you know, it's higher in the morning and it goes down, and then it goes back up and it goes down. But most people that I check, it's all over the place. If your cortisol is high in the afternoon, how are you going to feel?
Jerry?
Yeah, you're not going to be able to sleep. So then you're off kilter. But who checks cortisol? Anybody ever had a cortisol check? No. They do this, they just don't check it. So that could be a trigger. That's one of the fat-storing hormones. And if you exercise, you say, you know, I'm gaining a little weight, I want to lose some weight, and you do the first, there's 5 pillars of health. We're going to get to that next. But most people, what do? If you want to lose weight, what do you start to do? Exercise, eat better. Those are the 2. But there's 5 pillars. Exercise, fitness, hormones, stress, and detox. So you wonder why didn't I lose any weight? I'm doing all this stuff. I'm eating better. I'm exercising. I keep getting bigger. Well, we've got 3 areas that haven't even been touched. So they're key. You can't leave any of them out if you want to be successful. So, will you go to the next slide? So which one do you have? Lots of options. Toxicities are bigger than we think. You know, some supplements that people take have lead in them. So you think you're taking a supplement that you got from Walmart. One of the fillers is lead. You went to the dentist because you had a cavity. They put mercury fillings in your mouth. Every time you drink some coffee, it heats it up, spilling into your bloodstream. So, GI.
Really, because
That's real.
My dentist made it a point to say that he no longer used this. He's using this new hypopathic. No longer uses lead or mercury. No, he's using something different because of that.
Right.
And that is how he is selling. Like, you know,
That's
he's
real.
more appreciative, right? After, you know, it's more healthy, more. I don't want to say organic, but you know what we're.
Well, it's not toxic.
Right. So it's better, but so it's not toxic.
Yeah, it's not toxic. And then you think about what we eat. Our gut, we think about immunity as some white blood cell that floats around kind of independent. 70% of our immunity is in our gut. And we wonder why we're sick. Because we could turn things on and off if we just ate better.
70% of our
Immunity is in our guts.
So diet
Can make or break you. So what we're eating.
is why nutrition. I'm thinking about the likelihood people who have high dairy, cheese, and
Yes, mucus.
mucus and colds and allergies.
Allergies. And see, we always think of allergies as external, like the pollen, we're in spring season, we think, oh, I got allergies, I got this thing. So you take antihistamine. Well, allergies can start in here because the small intestine, the gut lining, it's only 1 cell thick. So you can heal it or you can mess it up really quickly. But if you keep putting crap in there, the junctions that hold the cells together, they get separated. And so those big proteins that are supposed to be in your gut, they release into your bloodstream. And they release histamines and cytokines that give you this inflammatory response like an allergies, where you're clearing your throat all the time. My ears get stopped up, I got all this mucus. Because your body's trying to fight. It's creating these fluids to flush out these toxins so it won't react. But you keep putting it in there, so it never goes away. So we have to heal our gut. We have to repair our gut and put stuff in that promotes health.
So how do you repair?
How do you repair it? You clean up your diet first. And there's some L-glutamine is an amino acid that actually heals the gut. Probiotics replace the good bacteria in your gut.
Kefir, yogurt, right?
Yes, fermented foods. The neurotransmitters in our brain are made in our gut. So you wonder why people get depressed when they start getting overweight. Because they're not making dopamine and serotonin and the good feel-good hormones because their gut's all jacked. So, I mean, it's a big deal to eat. You think it's just food. Food is information. Food tells your body, and we think about, like, I get this all the time. People say, oh, well, you know, I got diabetes in my family. So I'm just going to have it. I got heart disease, I'm just going to have it. Well, your genes are smart. You got every gene. Everybody has the code for every gene, the good, the bad, the ugly. What you do, how you live. The reason why most people get diabetes, if their mama had it, is because they live like their mama lived. They eat the same thing. They live the same way in their life, so of course you're going to get it. But my father is 500 pounds. All of my uncles, probably one or two of them have not died yet, but they smoked, they drank, they lived hard. They had diabetes, heart disease, everything. So, I mean, I could use that and say, it's in my family, but I don't live like they lived. I made a concerted effort to eat better and move better and try to manage my stress and all that. So you can turn things on, you can turn things off by how you live. It's nature versus nurture, and you have the power to turn things on and say, you know what, just because mama had it, I refuse. You might have to work harder. Those genes might be strong, but it's worth it, unless you want to end up like, you know, with those same diseases. So it's really important. So those are kind of the presentations that people have when their hormones or their stress is out of whack. So, oh, I did change it. Good. I changed it on there. So you must have the proper test. It was like much test properly or something like that. So, click the next one. So in order to know, you have to, and I talked about that, the bell curves, the functional labs, why it's different. And being proactive is the key. So these are the 5 pillars of health. And oftentimes why we are not successful. There's the other one. So the next one. Putting it all together. Yep. It's going to put it all together. There we go. And when you guys think of, yes ma'am.
What do you mean by detox? Like,
that was the next place I was going.
Sorry.
Yes. So I was going to ask you guys, what do you think when somebody says detox? It's kind of a buzzword right now.
Right.
Everybody's detoxing everything.
Yeah.
So what is that? When you think of detox, what comes to your mind?
Flushing your
cleaning your
system out.
colon out, I guess.
Clean your colon out, flush your system. How does that happen? What are you doing to make it happen?
You do lots of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're saying you could go on a 10-day cleanse, or, I mean, I know there's stuff on the market, but there are all types of other things out there.
It's supposed to it involves no food.
That's why nobody's doing it, right?
No food.
Some of them involve no food, but there's definitely elimination of certain types of food for sure.
Yeah.
So your body naturally detoxifies. Most people wear deodorant, right? And deodorant, have you noticed that coating? Like when you put it on, you take a shower, you just can't.
Yeah.
That's usually the aluminum in the deodorant. Aluminum is what makes you, it's sweat reducing. Okay? But sweating is a detoxifier. So would you take your, this is kind of crude, so pardon me. I don't know if I should say that. Maybe I should. How can I say it better? I don't know how to say it real nice or real uncrude or medical. Would you take your fingers and pinch your ureter so you couldn't pee? No. So why would you block your sweat so you couldn't sweat? It's a detoxifier. So if you leave with nothing today, stop using aluminum-based deodorants.
So what
They found
brands are
aluminum
those?
particles in the brains of people with Alzheimer's.
Yeah. Do you know what brands
Aluminum
you're
foil.
talking about?
I'm going to give you some options.
Okay.
But aluminum foil, if you heat aluminum foil and you put your meat on it, the heat breaks down the aluminum particles in the foil and it gets in your meat.
Oh, really?
So you want to use a metal that doesn't break down with heat. And you don't want to put aluminum under your arms that it can absorb into your skin and causes problems. So there, I mean, and see people.
Roast stuff is not good. Wrapping a roasted aluminum foil is not good.
When we talk about toxicities, you got to use glass. You got to use stainless steel.
Well, I mean, that's the old fashioned way. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying we live in a toxic world. We're exposed to all these things.
Yeah.
And we don't really know why.
I didn't know that.
I know.
Because I do wrap my meat.
But it's everything accumulatively. You know?
Oh.
They keep on putting this stuff in the U.S. then, like, if people know that it's like bad and stuff, they keep on promoting it.
Because it pays.
Yeah.
America's not about keeping you well. When doctors and lawyers run the world, they're concerned about getting paid.
Right.
And the sicker you are, the more they get paid. Wellness is you know, it may cost on the front end to be well, but on the back end, I mean, I'd rather pay now than pay later.
Yeah.
Because I'm older then, and I don't have the, you know, I want to chill. I want to be well. I don't want to do all that. But when you're young, you can fight the good fight. So, where was I? I lost my
About
train.
detox.
Oh, detox. So, your body naturally detoxifies itself if given the right environment. So, you detox through your sweat, your urine, and your stool. So, your body's doing that, and your liver is the primary detoxifier that does it. So, the sweat, the urine, and the stool, those are water-soluble toxins. Those are naturally released in our body. But we have fat-soluble ones. And the more fat you have, the more likely you're going to have fat-soluble toxins. So how do you get those out of your body?
Cut them out.
No, that would be surgery. But I see why you believe that. So these detox programs. Yes, you do. But they're detox programs that are really legitimate because they can transform fat-soluble toxins into water-soluble toxins and release them the same way water-soluble toxins come out. But it takes certain amount of nutrients in certain ratios and certain elimination of foods to facilitate that. So if you find a detox that allows for that, that's a good one. But you can't keep putting the bad stuff in your system and thinking I'm detoxing and then I'm going to be better. It's about cleaning the house. We get oil changes, we get transmission flushes, and whatever they do to the car, you know, they flush stuff out. But we live 45, 46 years, never done a detox. And we wonder why we don't kind of, you know, they think, oh, you're just getting older. Maybe if you cleaned out that liver, cleaned out the colon, maybe you feel a little bit better if you've never done it. So detox is important. And then you think about absorbing nutrients and digestion. That is effective. If you've never cleaned your house, you might be taking supplements, but where is it going? A supplement can be as bad as a drug if your kidneys and livers don't flush it out. So it's not about just putting stuff in. You got to put the right things in with the right ratios and make sure you're excreting them and they're not clogging something up more. So that's why detox is important. The nervous system is stress. Stress kind of begins the cascade of things. That's what makes your hormones produce excessively, or your heart rate go up, or make you eat, you know, when you're not supposed to eat, or crave the bad things. So that's it. Okay, So the next couple slides are kind of my own slides that I do in my own presentation, but in this setting, it's not. I'm not selling you on coming to my office and working with me. Oh yeah, we gotta get that one. Stop the pressure. So the whole point is to just take responsibility for your health. Nobody cares about you like you, and nobody knows you like you. So you can't go to the doctor and say, "Fix me." You know, he's got 1,000 people or whatever to take care of. So you got to come in there with some knowledge about what you want and what you need so that you can be serviced properly. And then you have to go home and not do the things that you know are not going to promote your health. Yes, ma'am.
When you're talking about detoxing, how your body naturally detoxes, so do you ever need a supplemental detox program? Or?
I would say yes. I think it's good to clean house. The seasons change. The world cycles through things, and it cleans itself up naturally. Why don't we? I try to do a detox every season.
What does it look like for you?
I do a 10-day. I do a liver detox, a gallbladder detox most of the time. You know, this is funny. I did, and I think I'm pretty healthy, you know. I think I do stuff. It's very humbling to actually do it. You're like, no, I got some work to do. So I did this liver detox and this gallbladder detox, and I passed gallstones.
Really?
And I don't even eat that much fat. I was like, oh my God. They look like, have you guys ever seen a gallstone? It looks like a chickpea or a green pea, and then I had some little black things. And I'm like, oh my God.
Was it painful?
No. It came out my poop. And poop is important. You gotta look at your poop. You gotta look at your poop. I know you don't want to, but you gotta look at it. You gotta say, did what I eat digest, or is it corn in there? Because if the corn came out whole, you're not digesting. And if you're not digesting the corn, what about the meat? Are you pooping every day? Pooping is important. If you eat every day, you've got to poop. And you can't do a detox. Yes, you cannot do a detox if you're not pooping. Because it's going to recirculate.
Are you supposed to poop after every meal?
If you eat, you should poop. When babies, when their little systems, when they eat, they poop. Within minutes, hours usually, they poop. So a good system is going to allow you to do that. So, yeah.
Go back to your detox for your liver.
Yeah.
Because I was just online looking at a liver detox.
What about it?
Well, this was you're supposed to take this, I don't know, this solution.
Yeah.
It's really salty.
I've done 2 different ones. And I'm not recommending you do this without talking to somebody to do it. But the first one I did was simple. It was you mix olive oil and lemon juice, and then it's awful. Well, that's not the awful. It's not worse. That was okay. And then you drink water. You lay on your side, and it flushes out the liver, and then you end up starting to poop the next day.
That was on Dr. Oz.
Yeah, the one I did most recently had this Epsom salt. You prepare for a week with apple juice, and then you do this Epsom salt thing. Epsom salt is the worst thing in the world to drink.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to, it's magnesium, basically. So it kind of loosens things up so you can kind of, when you go, my God, you're going to go.
Yeah.
And then you do the olive oil thing too.
And that was, this is your whole diet for 10 days?
No, the gallbladder liver detox, it's just this Epsom salt one is just 1 day.
Oh, okay.
And then you pass the stones for the next couple days.
Wow.
The one I did before was just olive oil and lemon juice. It's actually 3 nights. I would only do it Friday, Saturday, Sunday. When you're gonna be home.
That's gross.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah, you do
What
it Friday
about
night.
baking soda and water?
That's for indigestion.
Okay.
It's like a alkalines. It decreases acid in your stomach.
Oh, okay.
So your gut is huge. It's a huge, and most of America's problems are gut related. Crohn's, diverticulitis, acid reflux, indigestion, constipation. That's all diet. And then you take a drug, like a PPI, that suppresses the acid. Then you don't absorb your B vitamins. Then you're micronutrient deficient. Then you don't have any energy.
It's just cycle.
It just cycles. And it's insane.
Have you ever heard of turmeric?
Turmeric, anti-inflammatory. Yes, ma'am. Every disease has a root in inflammation.
Well, my niece before I even got up here good, she sent me this and sent it to all the family members, and this is supposed to be a healing thing.
Turmeric it's a natural anti-inflammatory.
And she has lupus.
Lupus
And
is
so
an
she said
autoimmune
she's been
anti-inflammatory.
And she is highly recommending the family get on it also.
Well, there's a
And
treatment that we
she's-
use turmeric for MS.
Yeah, and she said she's been on it for the last 3 months, and she said she feels different. So she's recommended to all the family members. I was just wanting to ask you.
Yeah, turmeric is anti-inflammatory. But you know, nothing works in isolation. Your life has to be about it.
Right.
How you eat has to be about it.
The
And
whole
how you trust, thank you.
it's a
Everything.
package deal.
Yeah, and I'm not saying go get some turmeric and just start taking it. Are you gonna digest it? It can make you, it can give you indigestion if you take it with certain things or on an empty stomach. So you just have to know what's good for you and what's going on with you and what you're trying to do. Just can't go doing stuff because you read it and you heard it and, you know,
Yeah.
you have to be aware.
That internet, it gets you messed up.
It will, and you'll have everything you read. You know, we call it Dr. Google.
Diagnose yourself.
Dr. Google.
Yeah, yeah. Because people come in the office and they'll say, "Oh, I need an antibiotic." Well, why? Because I got da-da-da. I said, "Well, maybe I can do the diagnosis. And you can." Maybe, you know, but they come in with all this. I got this. I know I got a sinus infection. I know I got this.
But
And we
what I
also
real-
want to take something for everything, right?
They
Like,
do. They want the pill.
I admit that.
What I
And
realized on the not to cut you off, but what I realized on the internet is people just like us sitting around the table that's out there putting that stuff out there.
Exactly.
It's,
So you gotta
it's
understand
not-
your
it's
source.
not, you know, it may be you decided that this worked for you, so you decided to put it on the internet. And that's what I was trying to tell people. I said, you just cannot. You got to research with the research. You got
Right, and you have to
research-
know the sources of the
Yes.
information and what their
Yes.
intentions are. Because you don't know.
I realize that moving just cherry juice, just cherries, eating cherries,
Mm-hmm.
and cherries, like,
Decreases
haven't
uric
had
acid.
it, literally haven't had it, you know, ibuprofen, you think, oh, your grandmother grew up with ibuprofen and a Tylenol and a witch hazel and a this, witch hazel's stupid, but, you know, and all these things, and you're like, and BC and all those other things, it's like, really, I could not take this ibuprofen by just adding more cherries or blueberries. to my- I
Exactly,
mean,
because
really,
drugs are made
I
from,
mean, really, it was part of my juicing.
but drugs are made from plant-based sources usually.
That's right.
It doesn't have the synergistic effect of the plant. They'll take one part out of the plant that does that thing and they'll make the drug out of it. So what more benefit could you get from the whole fruit? So,
Do you recommend, I've never really juiced. Anybody, do you juice?
juicing is good.
Juicing, you know, kale is all the big thing, all the big
I have
She said she
a fantastic experience. I did it to support a friend because my friend wanted to do it, and we looked at multiple, and we decided that each of us would detox in our own way. Some people were going to do liquid, some people were going to do this, and you know, we just said we have to work for ourselves, and I'm nowhere near an expert on anything. I don't even play under some TV, but I thought I've had enough intestinal issues to know that I'm not doing this or this. And so I did it, and I promise you, and I was able to attest to this. So my 10 days, and I was like, okay, I just did it to help her. And Tyson said, did you have more coffee? Because I am a coffee drinker. I mean, I can do literally a pot a day by myself and still sleep at night. It don't even faze me because I just consume that much coffee. And I took out Tyson, I was like, sorry, I didn't have anything but 1 cup of coffee. But my energy level stayed up here.
Yeah.
And so we went off of our detox and we stopped juicing after the first 10, 12 days. I crashed. Like, I mean, literally, I could not, I just thought, what has happened to me? Surely it can't be the fact that I cut all these things out and started eating fruit and vegetables and doing all this. But I promise, I mean, I did not believe it until I tried it. And I've seen it two times for myself. I'm like, let me just try one more time.
Oh, wow.
food does, I
I was
mean,
like, oh my gosh. I
let
don't
thy
believe
food
this.
be thy medicine. It will heal
I would
you.
have never believed coming here sitting.
Yeah.
I would have never believed anything you said if I didn't try it myself. I would not.
Food is medicine. I mean, that's where they get it from. And without the side effects.
Yeah.
So,
No, I do, even with the Mayo Company. So what about naturalistic things when you talked about menopause, or what about even peri or pre, just what about like menstrual pain,
Yeah.
severity? Like what is
most
out
of
there
it's
on this-
related. You know what people crave chocolate right before their period? It's likely they have a magnesium deficiency. Magnesium is in high ratio in chocolate. Magnesium is a skeletal muscle relaxant, so it decreases cramps. So your body's craving something, and you're eating it, and that's what helps it. But if you have magnesium,
As in a supplement or as in?
Okay,
As
so
in
I guess I
food
just don't
and-
have no magnesium because I have to have some chocolate in it.
well, I'm just saying, your body's talking to you. You don't really know why. You like the chocolate because it's sugar that gives you a little bit of energy to make you feel
I
better.
think
There's an
I
emotional
love
connection too.
chocolate.
But it's because it has this mineral salt in it that your body is missing.
Oh,
Like potassium
So-
and cramps. and you-
Right.
Yeah, okay. Or,
Right.
you know, like. aching
Or
and
stress.
stress.
And women, you guys don't know how amazing you are. So let me be the first to tell you. Women are amazing. You do everything. And you can do everything. And we don't rest.
yeah.
You don't. You won't rest. And I believe that our menstrual cycle is a time for us to check in. And I always tell my daughter, if your period comes on you like you stole something from it, you didn't take care of yourself the previous month. So if it has to sit you down because you wouldn't sit down before it came, then you have failed yourself.
But is that the same advice for somebody who's older than your daughter? Like
Well, I'm just
somebody
saying,
like
this applies
Yeah.
for anybody.
Yeah.
If you don't
Like
take
rest.
care of yourself, yes,
It's-
your
it's
period is going to
natural
come.
time.
African culture, women back when we were pure, we didn't even have periods. We think cycles are normal and natural. You're not supposed to bleed like that. It's like an oppressive state. You can't function. It takes you see how it does us?
Yeah.
In so many ways. So if you don't take care of yourself, you don't eat the steroids, the hormones they put in meat. We eat that. And it affects our blood flow and our periods. Black women are probably the most common women with fibroids. Why? We're the only women that put lye in our hair. Sodium hydroxide lye affects our uterus and makes us have fibroids. So I'm just saying that all these things that we think are just normal and we don't pay attention to, they're showing. And what do we keep doing as black women? We keep on. We keep on. We keep on until something, till we can't. But we could keep on, which we will, but we could do it in a better way. If we just took that time to say, I'm going to be well, I'm going to do this the right way, I'm going to eat a certain way, I'm going to live a certain way, I'm going to have a circle of women who also do that. And we're going to support each other so we don't have to be so all the time. So,
Can you give us
I kind of went off on a tangent.
Book title, or the next time we can hear you give us this information, because I think for some of us it's like, oh my God. So how do
A
we?
book title, African Holistic Health by Dr. Layla Africa. Nutricide is also by Dr. Layla Africa. It's Suicide by Nutrition, Nutricide. So this is not a new concept. He's talked about this forever. And we don't look at food as warfare. But as black people, and I can say that because we're all black in here, that they're killing us with food. When you can go, they call them food deserts, but I listened to a lady at a TED Talk. She said deserts are natural phenomenon. It's not, those aren't natural phenomenons. Those are food apartheid, where they're deliberately withholding certain foods and things from certain communities. And they give us other things they know that affect us a certain way. Like hot Cheetos that aren't food at all.
Which you can't find in certain.
Yeah, you can't find other places, but they inundate us with that. So we have to take responsibility for ourselves because food is warfare, and we are at war. We are at war, and I am not overstating that. When 90% of all people on dialysis are black, when 85% of all people who have their legs amputated for diabetes are black. Come on now. And diabetes is a lifestyle disease that's preventable if you don't do certain things. If you do certain things, you're going to get it. If you don't do certain things, you're not going to get it. So we have to do better. So that's what I got. Thank you.